I just stopped. My energy just vanished. My motivation to work on it just went away. I honestly would like to get to draft 2, so I don't know why I'm stuck. It's just my silly pattern that I get into where when I'm really close to the end of my writing, I just stop.
Hello, my name is Emma Van Grieken. If you are new around here, I am an author, a poet, and my debut book, Seasons of Life, comes out this October, which I am so excited for. Since Seasons of Life is done, I have now transitioned back to working on my fantasy book. I am doing this challenge. I'm challenging myself to write and finish my first draft. I am nervous for this challenge, but I want to document it because I know I can do it. And at this point of my creative life, at this point with my writing, I know that when I decide I'm going to do something, I do it. And I just really love taking you on the journey. So this is the process of me finishing my first draft of my first ever fantasy novel. I have already written for the first 11 days of September, so I'm going to share my progress. So the first day of September started out really nice and strong. I just kind of sat down for about 45 minutes and I did over 1,000 words. The next day I did really good. I wasn't even expecting that, but that was a really fun scene to write. Like, all of those words is one scene. Then that day I actually considered not writing because I had done enough that I could have skipped that, but I was like, no, I made myself a promise, we're gonna do it anyways. And then I kind of bounced back and forth between doing like the bare minimum, a small paragraph, 2 small paragraphs versus like a couple bigger pages. I think that was also a completed scene. And then I just had like this random day where I sat down for 3 hours and I did so much work. And this was my most recent day yesterday. Overall, I have added just over 13,000 words to my word count. Now I'm at 137,000 words, which is crazy because that's 110,000 more words than I think I've ever made it into a draft before. I actually wrote the first draft of my first ever fantasy book when I was 12, and then I abandoned it around 28,000 words. And then I wrote another first draft when I was about 15 of a different book, and I abandoned that around 30,000 words. I've been writing for a very long time, but I have not been plotting for very long at all. My minimum goal every single day to consider it a successful day is 300 words. I'm at the point where I'm writing incredibly messy. I'm not writing badly, but I'm writing with the understanding that if I need to go back and I need to tidy up dialogue, I need to tidy up descriptions, that's okay, and I actually expect that. What I'm really just trying to do at this point of the book is get the draft done. By the end of this, we will have a finished first draft I've ever finished of my first ever fantasy book, and we will move forward from there. I am so excited. Thank you for watching so far. So I've hit a bit of a block, and the reason for that is really complicated, and it's not something that I can figure out right now or all at once, or I can just get through by writing more. The spot that I'm at is like the climax of this book, and it's really important that it's done in a way that makes sense. Basically, like, everything of the book has been building up to this point, but I don't feel like I've clarified enough for myself. I don't really understand what the people in the scene want. We're in a really complicated spot where it would almost be easier for me to just start the book again, but I also know that I can just kind of slap this ending together and rewrite everything in draft 2. My main problem with starting this book was I didn't know how to plot, and I learned how to plot while I was writing. So now I'm at the spot where the plot has thickened a lot. I think what I'm gonna do to move through this is I'm just gonna write out on a piece of paper where the scene needs to go, and then come up with a bunch of brainstorm ideas on how I could get there and see which ones make the most sense. I'm at the spot where my writing process really just looks like me sitting in front of my computer and thinking things through. And I'm really just trying to move with what I usually move with, which is the idea that if the scene gets stuck somewhere, it means something's not working, and I go back to where it was flowing. Except this entire scene is a little bit sticky, so I think it really just needs some good foundational work to get solid again. Wish me luck. Good morning. It is now the end of September, and we are now just at under 28,000 words that we've added to the manuscript. I have missed a total of 3 days, and I think I've had maybe 3 days that have been under 300 in my word count. I'm actually at my parents' house right now, and it is harder to be in a bit of a routine here, but I'm still trying to do some work. So that said, we have one more day of September left. Where are we at with the plot? The plot is at the point where it is about to be kind of all tied together. I know I need to go back in my second draft and I need to properly plan out where the first act, second act, third act, fourth and fifth start, just so I have like that proper story mountain that you probably saw in English class, because I don't have that right now. But there's a quote that I read a while ago, which is that the first draft is like shoveling sand into a sandbox so that you can build castles later. And I like that quote because this first draft is not very good. But that said, I'm actually not very far away from finishing the whole first draft at this point. It's mostly just small distractions. But if I hadn't set this challenge in front of myself, I wouldn't be this far ahead. Like, I would not have added nearly 28,000 new words to this document. And I've definitely gotten myself out of the mindset of working on Seasons of Life and into the mindset of working on this book again, and I'm excited. So, I got my paperback book in the mail, which is really cool, and I've actually read this whole thing cover to cover now, and what I'm working on today is any last minute edits that I found I've written in my journal just as I was reading. So on one side I've got my journal open, on the other side I have this book open, and I'm just going through and I'm cross-referencing the edits here with the edits in the book, making sure they all make sense. So that is my morning today. I am having tea with a friend a little bit later. I'll probably make a cup of coffee. And I have a busy weekend coming up, but I really want to write today. It is October 3rd. I think what it's gonna be is I'm going to finish the first draft of my fantasy novel by October 15th at the very latest. So anyways, that is my plan for today.
There's something that I just want to say as well about the process of creativity, which is I see so many people that are scared to put something they've been working on out into the world, and at this point that's just not where I'm at. I'm at the point where Seasons of Life is ready to go out into the world. I have been wanting this for a very long time. I am sick of working on this book. And if you are in that spot where you're afraid of putting a project out into the world, I want you to just know that no matter how perfect you can get the project, there's still always going to be things that you see that you could have done or that you could still do to make it better. But would you rather have your art continue to exist in a box where only you can see it and it can't grow and it can't thrive? Or would you want to put yourself out there in a little bit more of a courageous way and see what happens? At some point you're not going to be motivated by what it is that you're doing, because what you're doing is hard, and it's hard to be motivated by something that is challenging unless you understand why you're doing the challenging thing. And a lot of people base their creative productivity in this feeling that if they accomplish something, then one day they'll feel valuable, one day they'll feel good as an artist. People had always told me, you might get to the point where you're a published author, where you're a novelist, and it doesn't feel the way you expect it to feel. And I said, that's not gonna happen, because I expect it to feel intensely rewarding. It's an accomplishment that I've wanted to do for me. I'm not expecting people to see this and say, wow, I finally understand that you are such a great artist, you are such a great writer. Of course, when I get good reviews, that makes me happy. Like when you tell me you like my book, and you tell me that something hit you emotionally in the chest, yes, that hits me, that feels good. But the whole process of creatively putting your work out into the world is about recognizing that you don't need other people to be telling you that it's a good work of art for it to be a good work of art. You just need to stand behind it and have a clear vision of where you want it to go, and leave the outcome to God, because you can't predict that, and then let other people's judgments fuel you to understand what your work is actually about and where you can get better as a creator and where you can get more confident and solidly rooted in you. So if you find that you're getting crushed by the sensation that other people are going to judge you, or you have this feeling that you really want to put your art out there in order for you to feel legitimate, then you need to focus instead on actually doing your art with integrity, doing your job with integrity, being in your relationship with integrity. Doubt doesn't get you
If you are in integrity, doubt does not shake you. It does not make you scared. If you are integrally walking the path that it is you have been called to walk by God. But if you're not integrally walking that path and you're shaky and you're wobbly and you're this and that and you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out and you need validation from all these other things, then you're gonna be scared and judgment is going to affect you because you're not rooted in yourself. Okay, so it is now October 7th, and for those of you that don't know, I run rewilding retreats for community-driven female entrepreneurs who want to connect with others who are going to help them thrive in their vision. And we just had the 3rd annual Wildside retreat. It finished yesterday, so obviously I haven't been working on my book for the past few days because I have been directing more of my resources towards that, which has felt really good, but I am settled and back in my home with only me, no one else is here, and I'm ready to sit down and work on this book. One thing that I do want to say is the more that I am focused on this book, the more I'm really ready for draft 1 to be done. So right now, I am at that interesting crossroads where I want this book to be done, but I want to start 1 or 2 other things. And no one else is here to keep me accountable. This is literally just me in my house talking to you, but part of why I make these videos is so I can actually see the progress that I make, and you can get invested in the journey because it's so much more fun for me to have people that are here, that are watching and waiting to see if this video ends with me finishing this draft by October 15th, like I said I'm going to, and it puts a little bit of pressure on me to actually get that done, so I'm just gonna sit down and write. I don't want to work on this book today, but I am just going to.
So it is now October the 9th. It is almost 8:30 in the morning. I have my cup of coffee. The other day when I checked in, I made it about 1,500 words, which was not a lot considering that I was working on the draft on and off for about 4 hours, but I was very distracted. I have very little dishes in my sink. I have 1 load of laundry to put away. I have 1 shower to take. And other than that, I don't have anything going on today, so I don't really foresee anything standing in my way of working on this draft, except for my own procrastination, which at this point is literally what I'm doing so hard to myself. I'm just procrastinating writing the scene that I don't want to write. When I was getting really close to finishing Seasons of Life, I had this much left to edit with my red pen, and I just stopped. My energy just vanished. My motivation to work on it just went away, out the window, goodbye, pshunk. And the same thing is happening with this book, so I know that this is my pattern. This is just something that I do. I get close to the ending, I procrastinate on it, but when it's done, I just know there's so much more I have to do with draft 2. But I honestly would like to get to draft 2, so I don't know why I'm stuck. It's just my silly pattern that I get into where when I'm really close to the end of my writing, I just stop. So we're gonna try to move past that today. We're gonna just friggin' work on this draft today! Good morning, golden dog. Hello, puppy. So like I said, it's October 9th, and the trees haven't really started turning over here yet. But this one over here, my lovely cherry tree, it's been dropping so many leaves, and I love her. She's just so beautiful every single year. So today is now October 15th. We have arrived to the day that I said I would be done. And I am not done. I am very close to done though, and that is what matters, because I have before me, ladies and gentlemen, an entire day to write approximately 4,000 words. I think that is about what I need to do in order to get this draft done. But yeah, that is where we're at today. We're gonna finish this draft today. All right, so where did we land with that? I am happy to report that I finished my draft on October 16th. I made it as far as I could on October 15th, and honestly, with the retreat happening the weekend before and then Thanksgiving happening,
I was not writing very good quality work, and I knew that the last 2 scenes of the book needed to be wrapped up in a very conscious way so that I could feel really good about moving forward. So here's what I did. Where I ended up after this 40-day writing challenge, just writing until the first draft is done, is a grand total of 165,144 words. That is my messy first draft. I know that that is going to shrink the next time around because there are so many miscellaneous details in the plot that I'm gonna tidy up. But that said, with 40 days of writing, that is an average of about 1,100 words every single day, which I'm really happy with. So where are we going with this now that I finished my first draft in 40 days? I have a sweet little treat here for myself. I needed a little more of a pick-me-up, so I made myself cacao. It's so yummy. I asked a couple different local printers to get me a quote for this manuscript because after draft 1, my intention was to just go ahead and write draft 2, but there's so many different details that I really want to give it a thorough read through. After getting a couple different quotes, I've decided to go with someone who is able to spiral bound print this manuscript, 450 pages of it, for $84 plus HST. Now that I actually have the draft done, I have shoveled all of the sand that I need to into the sandbox for me to build my castle, and I am ready to build my castle. Now that Seasons of Life is done, I feel like this challenge definitely got me back into the swing of writing fiction, which was the goal. It takes about 40 days to build a new habit, and I've definitely gotten myself back into this project. I'm really excited with the state of where my projects are at right now. Thank you so much for coming along in this video, and as always, subscribe for more content on this channel. I share a lot about spiritual self-development work for creative entrepreneurs, and I also share my author journey. And I will keep you posted on where we go next. So until next time, bye!